And in Yin, we do things a little bit different. The practice is a little bit different because the goals, the intention of that practice are different. Hi, and welcome to another class lecture conversation about the what, whys, and hows of Yin Yoga. My name is Ellie, and with this series, my goal, my idea is to respond to those very common questions that I get from my students and from people who want to know more about Yin Yoga. I've been teaching Yin Yoga teacher training courses for 4 or 5 years now, and these are the very common questions I get. I already responded what is Yin Yoga, what is not Yin Yoga. There are principles of Yin Yoga, and in this occasion, I am going to talk about why in Yin Yoga names are different than other styles of yoga. Usually, when we, especially if we are familiar or we have been practicing other styles of yoga that are more dynamic than Yin Yoga, Ashtanga, Vinyasa, Rocket, Hatha, it's quite common to hear the names in Sanskrit and of course in the translation in English. And Yin Yoga, we don't use the same names, and the main reason is that we are conditioned already by those names. So if you're familiar with the names, if you're familiar with these practices, with the asana practice, if I tell you we're going to practice Pashi motenasana, for example, the translation of that in English is quite long, is the intense stretch of the West. But Pashi motenasana immediately brings an energy, an intention, a way of practicing, a way of how you're going to place your body on the mat, how are you gonna grab your toes or your feet, how you're gonna lengthen your spine, and you're gonna start moving from the hip joint, keeping the torso the same length in the front and the back, aiming to bring your forehead to your legs by keeping your torso straight. Basically, that's kind of like the energy that Paschimottanasana immediately brings to your mind, which is great, but it's already conditioned. We have a similar figure, a similar shape in Yin Yoga. That is, but we cannot refer to this as Paschimottanasana because in Yin, honestly, in any style of yoga, it's not necessarily what you do, it's how you do it. And in Yin, we do things a little bit different. The practice is a little bit different because the goals, the intention of that practice are different. So this shape that looks like Paschimottanasana is actually called caterpillar. Very neutral name. A lot of asanas have actually animal names because it's quite neutral. So caterpillar, it may look like Paschimottanasana, but the intention is very different. You want to relax the muscles around the hip joint. Therefore, probably your toes will fall out or in. They may stay up depending on the position of your bones, the natural orientation of your bones of the femur inside of your hip joint. So once we let go of those muscles that are holding the femur in adduction, moving the legs close together and keeping your toes and your knees facing up, by doing that, depending on how your bones are oriented, majority of us need to practice with the intention of internally rotation. Once you let go of that, your bones will move in the way they naturally will go. In my case, my femur naturally are slightly oriented outwardly. It's kind of like the external rotation is there. When I walk in my normal daily life, my feet tend to go towards the side. It's like a 210, right, in a clock. Because this is how naturally my body, my bones are placed inside of my joint, so it will move my legs outwardly. So when I'm doing Pashi motenasana, I know that in my case, my hips need to bring the femur in internal rotation to keep the toes facing out. So when I let go in caterpillar, my toes will go out. But I've seen some students, when they relax the muscles of the legs, the toes actually comes in. Because naturally for that person, the femur is internally rotated. And some other people, just the toes just remain the same because the femur are quite straight in the joint. Neither is better or worse, they're just different. So we let go of the legs, we let go. Now here, there's a different way. There are two different ways of practicing forward folds. One is applying the stress, or directing the stress more into the legs, and another one more into the leg and to the posterior muscles of the back. But anyway, that will be another video of caterpillar. But in general, we will relax majority of the muscles that are involved when we're doing the asanas. So caterpillar, most likely we will round the spine, we will allow the head either to keep going down, or we will keep it more straight, but the muscles of the hip joint are more relaxed. We don't have the intention to pull ourselves forward. We are not grabbing the toes or the feet. A lot of times, this is how I like to cue it, how I like to practice, is keeping actually your palms facing up. So we avoid that conditioning way of practicing, of pulling ourselves forward. Some people actually stop themselves when they put the hands down. So we want to do neither, right? We don't want to pull ourselves forward. We don't want to stop ourselves, because in the end, we want to invite gravity to keep moving our body deeper and deeper as the body will go. So the intention is totally different. At the end of the story, the names bring some idea already in our mind, and that's why in Yin we don't use the names that we use in more dynamic practices. Long story short. That's the reason behind the intention and how we practice these asanas. Again, it's not that the Pashi motenasana way is better or the Yin way is better. It's just different. Two different practices with two different intentions, with different benefits. That's it. So don't get so caught up on why the names and all that. Now you know that behind the name there is an intention, and it's not about what we practice, it's how we practice. So thank you so much for your attention. I will meet you back here for more videos, more conversation, more clarification. And if you have any question, if you would like to know something about Yin Yoga, about anatomy, about tips, about teaching, about practicing, and I can help you with that, I will be happy to do that. So leave your comments below and I will be reading those very soon. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.